Hello bitches, welcome back to my channel. You're probably like, bitch, where the fuck are you? And I'm actually in my boyfriend's parents' house over this weekend, so yeah, I've just been chilling here and I still want to make a video. That's why I'm just doing this. So excuse the shitty lighting, it's nighttime, but that's not really an excuse to not make a video. I just asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram. So just to keep this a super chill and casual family fun video, hopefully this video will be family fun. If you have any other questions that you would ever be interested in asking me, just feel free to shoot me a question on my Instagram for it to, you know, potentially one day be featured in a video, or I'll just answer it there. Who knows? Instagram is my main social media handle, so I'm more likely to respond to you there than here. But yeah, so let's get straight to some of the questions that y'all asked me. So one of the first questions I got was, what's the hardest obstacle about being a freelancer? And I'm not a freelancer right now. I kind of just stopped taking freelances. I'm right now working in an animation studio, but last year when I was looking for a job during that period of not having an in-house job, I was freelancing for several companies, and during that time, I definitely learned that I have two major obstacles about freelancing, and one of them is definitely just that lack of stability, not only in just not knowing when you will get the next paycheck, but also in just that face-to-face interaction. I felt less prioritized during that time because, you know, they might say, hey, you're gonna get paid this Friday, but that paycheck never comes, and then you're sending like 10 emails being like, yo, where's the money that you promised? And they would not answer my email for like a week.
And then they'll be like, oh, sorry, and then like send it to you like 2 weeks later.
So I felt like not only was the money part unstable, but it was just having that lack of human interaction to just literally walk into HR and be like,
bitch, you didn't fucking pay me this week.
But another obstacle I definitely had was just that cafe bathroom life, because not only did I just struggle with working from home because, you know, it gets a little bit depressing when you're just stuck in your home all day, but that's why you kind of go to cafes or just go to outside working spaces. But once I step into a cafe and I drink coffee and I drink water and I have to do my necessities to live, a bitch is gonna eventually need to pee. And when I go pee, I do not want to pack up all my shit and go to the bathroom with all my stuff. And I don't want to just leave my stuff out there in the open for people to potentially take from me either. And it's not like I can go with a friend every time to the cafe because it's like, yo, we might have our own lives or something, like, just saying. It's really difficult when you're working alone and going to a cafe. But, you know, eventually you kind of just find your way to balance out working from home versus working in a public space. So those are kind of my top two obstacles about being a freelancer, is just that instability and just fucking peeing in cafes. This is Nato, this is my boyfriend's cat, and he won't fucking stop meowing, so I'm gonna have to like have a child in this video. But this, okay, he's gone. But the second question I got is, was there anything you wished you did differently in college? And I feel like my biggest thing that I wished I did in college was just kind of like having my own project outside of my own film. Even though my film kind of is my project, but I wish I had a project that could just be like totally unrelated to school and totally unrelated to just anything else that was a necessity in my life, like going to college and getting an education and getting a degree. And yeah, you're making a film, even though it's for yourself, it's still, you know, it still has to be something that is going to have to impress a studio, or it's gonna have to impress your teacher, or just be presented to your class. And I dedicated so much time in school just on my films, like my life literally circulated around how I did my films, and I didn't have my own projects on the side. Before, I used to have my own sketchbooks and I did my own little sketchbook tours, but I felt like even though it was really de-stressing and nice to work in your own sketchbooks, they were two short-term projects, or okay, once you finish an illustration and a drawing, it's like that's it. I kind of wished I had just something more long-term on the side going, which is kind of why I started doing my comics on Instagram now, because I felt like that was something I needed going on for me during school, was just some project that helped me just stay myself throughout school. But I mean, of course, if I didn't have the experiences I had in school, I wouldn't be where I am now. So it's just like, you know, do I really have any regrets? Probably not. But if I did go back in time to change something, I probably would have just been like, Michelle, you can, you know, make your own projects. Don't feel insecure about it just because there are a lot of other cool kids in school. Because I mean, I was already really insecure just making my own films and having to show that to other amazing artists and teachers at school. So me taking on my own personal project in addition to that would have probably given me an anxiety attack, but you know, it's all good now. I'm doing it now. So the third question I got was, can you show us some of your artwork you did in college? Well, here is the montage of some of the artwork I did in college. So the next question is, does it feel weird to know that people look up to you? And in a way, yes, it does feel weird, but do I want to stop doing that? No, because I feel very honored to know that just me existing and just doing the things I like to do can impact people in a positive way. And I felt like that really became more apparent to me during Lightbox Expo, because I feel like the internet and just social media and the fact that it's just all through your phone and all you see are just numbers, it doesn't really hit you that there are actually that many people that are affected by your work. But I think after Lightbox Expo, I definitely felt, yeah, I should keep doing what I'm doing and not stop, because people genuinely are positively impacted by it. So why stop? But for me, the only reason why it feels weird is not only because I get really anxious when I meet new people that I don't know, and especially because it's like, I want to be able to serve as much of myself as possible to y'all and just like give everyone a fair amount of time or conversation. It's something that I don't ever want to accidentally hurt someone, but you're under so much pressure that it's so easy to accidentally hurt someone in that process. So that's why it feels really weird to me. And the other thing that just generally feels really weird is because it's just me living my life doing like regular shit. Me just talking about going to the bathroom and having a UTI, which is something that's kind of like gross to some people, but also very normal to a lot of girls. It's just
So inspiring to some people, and I mean, if that works for you,
I'm glad that my UTIs paid off at the end of the day and helped someone. So the next question I got is, what gave you the idea to do succubishes? And for those of you who are on my YouTube channel and have no clue what the word succubishes is, it's basically the comic series I do on my Instagram, and that's more of my main social media platform. And it's just a comic about a succubus girl just living her day-to-day life. And the reason why I started it is just kind of like, again, what I said before, is just I wanted to have my own project just going on alongside the main things I'm doing in life, like working in a studio. I just kind of want a project that's just mine, just happening in the background, and nobody's really touching it other than me. It actually was about 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago, this day, this time, this week, whatever, that I started to think about succubishes. I was literally just sitting at work and I was just thinking about, yeah, I really need to like do something else other than just go to work, because while I love being a storyboard artist, it's just like I do have my own goals someday of making my own shit, but how is that going to happen if I don't keep making my own shit? I just wanted to create a comic series that was very easy to maintain, because I knew that, hey, if I was going to keep this comic going long term, it has to be very simple for me to do, meaning that every time I drew the comics, you won't see the lines be completely perfect. You'll see some coloring go outside of the lines. Not everything is gonna play out like with the exact beats of storyboards or how storyboards go. They're kind of more like beat boards with the occasional breakdowns for times that I really want to matter. Mini slice of life episodes really work for comics like that, just because it's like, you only have to draw out your life experiences. I don't need to think about plots and epic worlds, in which is something I would eventually like to pursue, but I mean, this is just my stepping stone of getting to that eventually. And how I came up with the succubus as the main character is because, well, first of all, a succubus is kind of like a female demon that fuck men in their sleep or whatever, and I just really wanted to have a female succubus who, you know, apparently her role is to like do that stuff, but I don't make it known in the comics that that's what she's supposed to do, really, because that's not what matters. I want her to just live her life like a normal person. She's just fucking chilling and living her life and not fucking men in their sleep, and that's it.
Like, she does have a boyfriend, and she does get UTIs, so she probably does, like, you know, do something, but it's just, like, at the same time, that's not her sole purpose in life.
Okay, so, yeah, that's kind of how it happened, and I just really wanted to make it a little wholesome, funny, yet edgy, and occasionally raunchy comic. So the next question I got is actually related to the previous question, but do some colors in your comic mean a specific feeling, or is it just for fun? So, if you're familiar with my comics, again, the very common color schemes are kind of just pink, purple, orange, blue, maybe sometimes black and white, who knows. Well, the first biggest meaning behind why they're colored like that is just because I need to keep the colors monotone again in order to sustain the comics. Otherwise, if I had fully colored comics every week, guess what? You wouldn't be seeing comics every week. You'd be seeing it like once like a month. So I actually have a comic on Etsy, a downloadable digital comic with a video.
Shameless self-promo.
It's a comic explaining my process of my comics, and one of the pages kind of explains why, but I can say it here too because I'm not a fucking cheap ass bitch who's gonna be like,
I'm not gonna tell you unless if you download my Etsy product.
Basically, pink is just kind of your mundane day-to-day life. It's just her living her life. It's kind of just normal shit happening. Orange is kind of when stuff is a little bit more heated up. Maybe something is a little more tense, who knows. Purple is mostly nighttime / moments that are calm, but it could also just mean nighttime. Blue is kind of like the similar meaning to purple, except if I want to break up a moment, like saying like, oh, this is a moment that is in the present, but then I'm gonna go to a moment that was in the past, I might break it up to blue to just show the reader, oh, these are two separate moments in time, they're not the same moment. Otherwise, I don't really think that philosophically about the colors. I'm not like, pink just means the times of youth and childhood. It's nothing crazy like that. It's just me just trying to make my life easy while having like a pinch of meaning to it. So the next question I got is, does finally being in the industry now make you feel like you made it, or is it the only first step? So in the past, I used to think that just being a storyboard artist in the animation industry was just like top tier level shit. Not saying that it isn't. If that's what you want in life, like that's great, but I feel like for me, especially after doing my comics, it really helped me see that I want to do more in this world while I can, and for as long as I'm alive, I just want to do more things that could, you know, leave a positive impact on people. So I feel like doing my own stuff helped me open my eyes to wanting to create an impact. And of course, I can't be doing that just as a storyboard artist. Like, yes, I can through my boards, but I feel like I want to be in a position where I have a greater outreach, and I just really want to eventually kind of be either a show creator, a director, or someone that can just have a voice that can just project my voice even louder than just being a storyboard artist. So yeah. And the last question, because it's getting really late and I'm getting really oily and I'm getting really crusty. So what is the worst advice you have ever gotten, art-wise or life-wise? Well, since this is kind of an art channel, I'll tell you the worst art advice that is also kind of life advice, and that was for my second-year student film. I have no ill feelings towards the person that gave me this advice. It was just like, I just don't think he understood my story, and that was just that. During my second year of CalArts, I created a short film which is about the concept of catcalling and why it's wrong, because as a woman, you probably deal with this a lot. And I've been dealing with catcalling since I was 12, and I kind of find it, you know, no, actually I don't kinda, I really find it disgusting that middle-aged guys would just hit on 12-year-old girls and try to like jack off in front of them on the subway, and that's really gross. So I created a second-year film about the concept of catcalling and why it's wrong and why, like, you know, we need people to help step in to help this problem as well, because it's a form of like verbal or visual sexual harassment. I told one of my teachers about this story and I showed him my boards, and I just basically said, by the end of this story, I want to make sure that the catcaller knew that he was wrong. I just want to know that, I just want people to see this person who did wrong actions could learn from his wrong actions just by society telling him that this is wrong. It's like so fucking simple. But my teacher, for some reason, was just like, I don't know, because like there was a whole tiger transformation thing going on, because I'm trying to make it a little bit abstract, trying to make shit a little bit edgy, okay? But he was just like,
no, why don't you just try to, like, at the end, just have a moment like in Beauty and the Beast where the tiger guy is just transforming back into a human, and you could have a whole 360 rotation, and then he and the girl actually make up and they end up becoming romantic and they kiss
or some shit. And I was just like, and I was just like, that sounded pretty wrong, but okay, I'm going to listen to you and be respectful, but not take that advice. So that is why, again, going back to one of my previous questions that I got, is if you get advice that is helping you on a technical standpoint that will help support your idea, consider it perhaps and apply it to your project. But if you are receiving advice that is totally distorting the meaning of what you're trying to say, like if I really made that the ending of my film, I really think I would have received a lot of negative feedback about the message of my film. So I'm glad I didn't go with that idea. You have to be really strong. You have to have a strong spine when it comes to your voice and your message. But when it comes to like technical shit like, ooh, the way I drew my character's eyes, yeah, like shit on that all you want. I don't fucking care. But if you're gonna tell me that like, oh, you should like get into a romantic relationship with your catcaller, I think that's just like kind of a problem, but like it's just kind of a problem. Anyway, that is the last question I got, and I will leave it at that. Thank you all again for giving me a casual chit-chat Q&A video with y'all. I hope that this helped some of y'all in some way, and if not, this was just a super chill session, so thank you. And thank you to my boyfriend's family for giving me this super vintage, spiced up background, because otherwise we would have just been back in my boring apartment. And this is actually artwork done by my boyfriend's mom, so follow her on Instagram if you're interested, because she's a professional painter and it's nice to have other artists in the fam. So thanks again for watching this video. I'll see y'all in the next one.